Have you ever said something and instantly felt regret, as if your own words had betrayed you? Like an arrow loosed from the bow, speech cannot be undone. The wise understand this, and they choose their words with precision, knowing that language is not just sound, but the reflection of their mind and character. Today, we explore 6 things an intelligent person never says, guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. The Stoics taught that speech is a tool, one that can build trust or destroy it, reveal strength or expose folly. From avoiding idle boasting to mastering the power of silence, these principles aren't just about what you say. They shape how you are perceived and ultimately who you become. By the end of this video, you'll have practical insights to refine your speech, command more respect, and cultivate a presence that speaks volumes even in silence. So stay with me, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is knowing when not to speak. 1. Refrain from complaining without purpose. Imagine someone like David, a capable professional balancing work, family, and the daily struggles that life throws his way. Deadlines pile up, responsibilities pull him in different directions, and small inconveniences seem to multiply. But instead of addressing these challenges with a clear mind, David falls into a habit that slowly chips away at his well-being: constant complaining. Nothing is ever quite right. His co-workers are inefficient. The office coffee machine is always broken. The traffic on his way home is unbearable. At first, his colleagues sympathize. They listen, offer solutions, even try to lift his spirits. But as time goes on, the negativity becomes draining. Conversations with David feel heavy, exhausting. One by one, people begin to pull away, not because they don't care, but because they can no longer handle the endless stream of complaints. Then, during a lunch break, a friend looks at him and asks a simple but powerful question. "David, I hear your frustrations, but what are you doing to change them?" The words hit him like a shockwave. He had never really considered it before. His complaints weren't solving anything. They were just reinforcing his own sense of helplessness. Worse, they were pushing people away. This scenario is all too common. It's easy to fall into the habit of venting frustrations, but unchecked complaints do more harm than good. Stoicism offers a clear antidote. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it simply: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Complaining about things outside our control, traffic, the weather, the actions of others, only amplifies our frustration. It weakens us, shifting our attention away from what we can influence. But this doesn't mean that all complaints are useless. When directed with purpose, they can inspire change. However, without direction, they become nothing more than empty noise. Words that drain energy and accomplish nothing. An intelligent person understands this distinction. Instead of dwelling on problems, they ask, "What can I do about this?" If the answer is nothing, they let it go. If change is possible, they take action. This simple shift in mindset is the key to breaking free from the trap of pointless complaining. So how can you cultivate this mindset? Start by questioning your reactions. The next time frustration arises, pause and ask yourself, "Is this within my control?" If not, release it. Complaining about the rain won't stop it from falling, and resenting traffic won't clear the roads. Instead, redirect that energy. Read, reflect, or practice gratitude for what is going well. Another powerful approach is to reframe your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" try, what can I learn from this? Every difficulty holds a lesson, but mindless complaints blind us to these insights. The Stoics believed that obstacles are not meant to break us, but to teach us resilience. Where others see adversity, the wise see an opportunity for growth. Returning to David, he took his friend's words to heart. Instead of complaining about his boss, he started preparing thoughtful solutions to improve work processes. Instead of resenting his commute, he turned it into a time for learning, listening to audiobooks, and practicing mindfulness. Gradually, his mindset shifted. His words became more intentional, carrying weight and purpose. His relationships improved. His colleagues, once exhausted by his negativity, began seeking his advice, drawn to his calm, solution-oriented presence. In the end, refraining from purposeless complaints is about reclaiming your power. When you focus on what you can control, you don't just strengthen your own mind, you elevate your influence on those around you. Stoicism teaches us that our words and thoughts are tools. Used wisely, they shape a life of resilience, purpose, and connection. When you let go of empty grievances and embrace constructive action, you don't just change how others see you, you transform yourself. 2. No empty promises. A promise is more than just words. It is a bond, an unspoken contract that shapes expectations, builds trust, and defines relationships. And yet, how often do we offer commitments too easily, without truly considering whether we can fulfill them? This habit, even when unintentional, weakens our credibility and erodes the trust of those around us. Stoic philosophy teaches that integrity is not about saying much, but about ensuring that what we say carries weight. Our words should be reflections of our character, not empty echoes meant to appease the moment. Consider Daniel, a hard-working professional in his early 50s, balancing a demanding career with family life. Daniel was well-meaning, always eager to reassure those around him. He'd tell his team he'd review their reports by Monday or promise his family he'd be home for dinner, only to fall short time and again. At first, people understood. He was busy after all. But as broken promises piled up, so did the frustration. His colleagues started second-guessing his commitments. His family grew tired of his well-intended but unfulfilled words. One evening, after missing yet another family event, Daniel found a note on his desk from his teenage daughter. It read, "We don't need more promises. We just need you to mean it when you say something." That single sentence struck him to his core. He realized that while his intentions were good, his repeated failure to follow through was causing more harm than he had ever imagined. His words, once taken at face value, were now met with doubt. He wasn't just disappointing others, he was eroding the very trust and respect he had spent years building. This moment of clarity highlights a key Stoic principle: speak with intention and act with integrity. Marcus Aurelius put it best: let your words be plain and true. Promises are not just about easing tension or making others feel good in the moment. They are commitments that tie our words to our character. To break a promise, even unintentionally, is like writing a check that your credibility cannot cash. Over time, people stop believing not just in your words, but in you. So how can we avoid making empty promises while still nurturing trust and respect? The answer lies in mindfulness and discipline. Before committing to anything, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, do I truly have the time, resources, and energy to fulfill this promise? If the answer is uncertain, it is far better to set realistic expectations than to overpromise and underdeliver. Instead of saying, "I'll definitely have this ready by tomorrow." Try, "I aim to have it ready by tomorrow, but if I need more time, I'll let you know." Clarity and honesty earn more respect than wishful assurances. Another powerful approach is to underpromise and overdeliver. Setting achievable commitments and occasionally exceeding them builds a reputation for reliability. Imagine Daniel telling his team he needs 3 days to review a report, but completing it in 2. Such actions, more than words, demonstrate competence and dependability. And finally, embrace accountability. If you ever find yourself unable to keep a promise, address it directly. Apologize sincerely, explain the situation briefly, and propose a solution. This doesn't just minimize the damage, it reinforces that your word still holds value, even in moments of failure. Daniel took these lessons to heart. He became more intentional with his commitments, saying no when necessary and ensuring that his yes was meaningful. Over time, his colleagues regained trust in him, and his family saw his efforts as genuine. More than that, he experienced a profound inner peace, because he knew that his words and actions were finally aligned. In the end, avoiding empty promises is not about being perfect, it is about being authentic and dependable. The Stoics teach us that true strength lies in living with integrity, ensuring that our words and actions flow as one. By committing to this principle, we do more than just earn respect. We forge deeper, more meaningful relationships. After all, it is not the promises we make that define us. It is the ones we keep. 3. Never dismiss others' opinions. Have you ever been in a conversation where your thoughts were brushed aside before you even had the chance to explain? It's a frustrating experience, leaving you feeling unheard, as if your perspective doesn't matter. Worse, it can even make you question yourself. Was my idea really that unimportant? I know this feeling well, not because I've been dismissed, but because I was once the one doing the dismissing. Early in my leadership role, I took pride in my ability to make quick decisions. In one particular meeting, a colleague suggested an idea to improve our workflow. Without hesitation, I interrupted, dismissing it as impractical. I believed I was saving time, cutting through inefficiency. But what I failed to notice was the uneasy silence that followed, the hesitant glances, the lack of enthusiasm for further discussion. Afterward, a trusted co-worker approached me and said something that stuck with me. "Maybe you should have listened a little longer. That idea wasn't as bad as it first sounded." That simple remark hit me like a wake-up call. I hadn't just shut down an idea, I had shut down a person. Worse, I had unknowingly created a culture where people hesitated to speak up, fearing that their input wouldn't be valued. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true wisdom comes from openness, not arrogance. Marcus Aurelius put it best: "You cannot learn what you think you already know." When you dismiss someone's opinion without listening, you aren't just rejecting an idea. You're closing yourself off to growth, to creativity, and to the deeper understanding that comes from genuine dialogue. More than that, you're weakening trust, making it less likely that people will share their thoughts in the future. That realization changed the way I approached conversations. In future meetings, I reminded myself, listening does not mean agreeing. It means giving respect, creating space for learning, and acknowledging that even ideas that seem flawed at first might contain valuable insights. To my surprise, when I started listening with curiosity instead of judgment, something remarkable happened. My team's contributions became more innovative, their engagement deepened, and we discovered solutions that had never crossed my mind. The shift was simple. But the results were profound. If you want to adopt this mindset, try this small but powerful change. Instead of thinking, "How can I counter this idea?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Even if an idea isn't perfect, it can still expand your understanding of the problem. And if nothing else, truly listening helps you understand the perspective of another person, and that in itself is valuable. Another crucial lesson from Stoicism is practicing humility. The moment we dismiss another's opinion, we assume, consciously or not, that our view is superior, that we alone possess the truth. But no single person has all the answers. True wisdom lies in collaboration, in the ability to exchange ideas and see the world through different lenses. After I changed my approach, the atmosphere in our meetings shifted. I started asking more questions, encouraging even the quietest voices to share their thoughts. The result? We generated better ideas, built stronger relationships, and fostered an environment where people felt valued. Most importantly, I realized that everyone in their own way has something to teach me, something I had been missing because of my own impatience and overconfidence. In the end, refusing to dismiss others' opinions isn't just about kindness, it's about strategy. When you respect the perspectives of those around you, you open the door to innovation, deeper understanding, and stronger connections. You create a culture where people feel safe to contribute, where new ideas can flourish, and where you yourself continue to grow. As the Stoics remind us, wisdom isn't about proving you're right. It's about understanding that everyone in their own way holds a piece of the truth. 4. Don't overshare future plans. The Stoics remind us that our words should be measured, purposeful, and aligned with our actions. This applies not only to promises we make to others, but also to the way we speak about our future plans. Sharing too much, too soon, can create unnecessary expectations and even weaken our resolve. Consider Michael, a well-meaning professional known for his warm personality and eagerness to please. Whenever someone invited him to an event, asked for help, or suggested a new project, his default response was, "Sure, count me in." It felt good in the moment, being agreeable, making people happy. But as responsibilities piled up, Michael found himself stretched too thin. One day, a close friend invited him to an important family gathering. True to form, Michael enthusiastically agreed. But later, he absent-mindedly scheduled a work meeting at the same time and completely forgot about the dinner. The next day, his friend's disappointment was evident. "We weren't upset that you were busy," his friend said. "We were upset that you said yes when you didn't mean it." Those words hit hard. Michael hadn't meant to deceive anyone, but in trying to be agreeable, he had unknowingly weakened his own credibility. His words, though well-intentioned, had become hollow. This highlights a common mistake. We share our plans too freely, overcommit to please others, and end up failing to follow through. But the Stoics teach us that speech should be rooted in honesty and self-discipline, not fleeting emotion. Marcus Aurelius put it best: "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In other words, authenticity must guide our commitments. We often say yes too quickly, fearing that a no will disappoint others. But in reality, failing to follow through does far more harm than setting honest boundaries up front. So, how can we avoid this trap? First, pause before committing. The next time you feel tempted to say yes on impulse, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? Can I realistically follow through? If there's any doubt, a respectful no is far better than an insincere yes that leads to disappointment. People value clarity and honesty more than vague commitments. Second, prioritize quality over quantity. It's far better to make fewer promises and fulfill them with excellence than to take on too much and fall short. When your words are deliberate and meaningful, people trust them more. Lastly, understand that saying no is not selfish. It's self-awareness. The Stoics emphasize focusing only on what is within our control. Spreading yourself too thin diminishes your ability to honor the commitments that truly matter. By being intentional with your promises, you protect your integrity and maintain the trust of those around you. Michael took this lesson to heart. He began thoughtfully considering his commitments before agreeing to anything. He stopped making promises just to please others and focused on delivering where it truly counted. Over time, his relationships improved, not because he said yes more often, but because when he did, he meant it. In the end, being mindful of your commitments is not just about managing expectations. It's about building a reputation of reliability and integrity. The wise understand that words should not be given lightly, and when spoken with purpose, they carry the power to strengthen trust, deepen relationships, and shape a life of true discipline. 5. Avoid boasting about knowledge. Have you ever met someone who couldn't stop talking about their knowledge and achievements? At first, their expertise might seem impressive, even inspiring, but over time, that admiration fades. Not because their knowledge lacks value, but because their need to showcase it overshadows everything else. The Stoics understood this well. True wisdom does not need to announce itself. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nature does not boast about what it creates, and neither should we take credit for our wisdom." Let me tell you about David, a highly skilled professional in the tech industry. In meetings or social gatherings, he always aimed to be the smartest person in the room. He spoke at length about the groundbreaking projects he had worked on, the technologies he had mastered, and the recognition he had received. Initially, people were intrigued, but as time went on, they started avoiding deep conversations with him, not because they doubted his intelligence, but because every discussion felt like a performance. One day, a colleague gave him some honest feedback. "David, your knowledge is impressive, but the way you share it sometimes makes others feel like they don't belong in the conversation." That was a moment of clarity. David realized that in his desire to impress, he had unintentionally distanced himself from others. Instead of inspiring, he'd alienated. This is a trap many fall into. When you feel the urge to share your knowledge, ask yourself, am I speaking to add value or to seek validation? If the goal is admiration, it's time to reconsider. Boasting doesn't elevate you. It creates an invisible barrier. Instead of drawing people in, it makes them feel small, measured against your intellect, rather than engaged in meaningful dialogue. Stoic philosophy offers a simple yet powerful solution. First, let your actions speak louder than your words. If you are truly knowledgeable, it will show through your work, your problem-solving, and your ability to help others. Second, practice humility. This doesn't mean denying your abilities, but allowing others to recognize them naturally through experience. And finally, listen. The Stoics saw listening as a profound strength. Silence is not the absence of knowledge, but a sign of confidence and depth. David took these lessons to heart. He started talking less about himself and listening more to others. Rather than dominating conversations, he contributed humbly and allowed space for others' insights. Over time, people sought him out, not just for his intelligence, but for his sincerity and collaborative spirit. He proved that knowledge is not meant to be flaunted, but shared in a way that elevates those around us. Avoiding boasting isn't about staying silent. It's about sharing in a way that fosters respect, connection, and growth. The Stoics remind us that our words reflect our inner character. When we choose humility over arrogance, we don't just enrich our own lives, we elevate everyone around us. 6. Don't deny your mistakes. Have you ever felt that admitting a mistake is like exposing a weakness for everyone to judge? I used to believe that too, until one experience completely changed my perspective. Through Stoic philosophy, I learned that acknowledging mistakes doesn't diminish you, it strengthens you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone is able to prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I will gladly change, for it is the truth I seek, and the truth never harmed anyone." Let me share a story. A few years ago, I was leading a major project at work. In my rush to meet a tight deadline, I overlooked critical details in a report. When the errors came to light, my team faced sharp criticism from upper management. My first instinct? Deflect. Blame the tight deadline, the heavy workload, anything but myself. But deep down, I knew that avoiding responsibility would only damage the trust I had built. Instead, at our next meeting, I did something different. I admitted my mistake. I apologized to my team and laid out clear steps to prevent it from happening again. The response was surprising. Instead of judgment, I received respect. My colleagues appreciated the honesty. Some even thanked me for setting an example. That moment changed everything. I realized that owning up to mistakes doesn't weaken your credibility. It strengthens it. Why is this so powerful? Because admitting a mistake builds trust and breaks down defensiveness. When you take responsibility, you send a clear message. Truth matters more than ego. You also create a culture where others feel safe, admitting their own mistakes, leading to real solutions instead of blame games. Yet, let's be honest, admitting fault isn't easy. We fear judgment, embarrassment, or losing respect. But ask yourself, does denying an obvious mistake actually make you look better? Or does it make you seem untrustworthy? The truth is, the courage to admit your faults is a sign of confidence. It shows that you are strong enough to face reality and committed to self-improvement. So, how can you apply this in your life? First, practice self-awareness. When something goes wrong, resist the urge to point fingers. Instead, ask yourself, what was my role in this? Even if your share of the blame is small, owning it is the first step toward a solution. Second, focus on fixing the problem. Don't just apologize, demonstrate through your actions that you're committed to making things right. Stoicism teaches that mistakes are not failures, they're opportunities for growth. Those who have the courage to own their errors don't just improve themselves, they inspire others. The next time you make a mistake, don't hide or deflect. Pause. Take responsibility. Commit to doing better. Because in the end, the willingness to admit your mistakes is what truly sets you apart and earns you lasting respect. Our words shape who we become. The Stoics teach us to speak with intention, act with integrity, and value silence. If this video resonated, comment below or write, "I love this." Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to keep growing. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.